Hello, welcome.
Hello, beautiful beings. Welcome to the Stream of Truth. I am Dr. Tassel Faith Shanebrook.
And I am Sean Kelly.
And today we are talking about exploring the divine feminine lesson plan.
Yeah.
And previously we had explored the divine masculine lesson plan. So this is part 2 of this pairing. It's such a great topic. We had such a great discussion last time in the divine masculine. And before we get into it, I just wanted to share that we are holding a really exciting free gathering in about 2 weeks. It's Thursday, March 10th at 8 p.m. Eastern on Zoom. And it's going to be about divine union, twin flames. Such a amazing journey. If you're in one of these journeys right now, or if you're interested, if you're drawn to it, please join us. We're going to be sharing a lot about our own journey, answering a lot of questions, and just really the intention is to support each other on this journey, which is really just a journey of our awakening and our ascension and enlightenment.
Yes. Yeah, it would be lovely for you to join us. Also, if you haven't watched it already, or after this video, check out our divine masculine of the same sort of focus for this stream. We're doing a divine masculine, divine feminine kind of focus. So definitely check that out. We could put the link in the description after, but otherwise it'll just be on the channel. You can check it out if you want to go there. Yes. What were you going to say?
I was going to say the link to the registration for the gathering in 2 weeks is also in the description.
Yep.
Well.
We already have some people joining and registering and stuff, so it looks like it's going to be a good turnout. We have a couple different sort of twin flame people that are sort of working in union that are probably going to come with us as well. So we'll have some people that are kind of similar to Tassel and I in a way, where we're working towards harmony in the relationship in this type of intense environment. And so for those of you that feel you're in separation or with your twin flame type or relationship, that's primarily we're here to help support those people, as well as people that are struggling in the union. And also to show that being in separation is in many ways a lot easier than being in union. So I know that might be hard to hear, because we want the union, but the union doesn't fix anything really. The union is where the work really truly starts, and when I find it actually gets much harder than just feeling sort of lonely and yearning. That lonely and yearning is hard, really hard, not minimizing it, but in my experience, it's after that we've found a sort of deeper challenge for me. So I know everyone's different, but basically this too shall pass, and try to trust and have faith, and come talk to some people that are going through the same stuff, and hopefully we can help each other.
Yes, we are all brothers and sisters walking each other home. Let's hold hands and do it together.
I'd like to apologize for the audio. There's some noise in the house and outside, and it's getting picked up by the microphone. And normally it's not too much of an issue, but hopefully that everything quiets down. Come on, man. Quiet it down.
Alrighty, so let's go into the divine feminine lesson plan. Dun dun dun.
Dun dun dun. So again, we're I guess I just want to preface everything, if Tassel doesn't mind, just saying that we're not talking about particular gender necessarily, but we're talking about the aspects inside of each of us. And typically, we sort of embody or recognize ourselves as one or the other. But it's better to try and realize that we are both, and we're primarily maybe working on one aspect more than the other, which is why we're more sort of attentive, giving it more attention in our consciousness, which is what helps form our identity as it, because we're sort of exploring it, right? If that makes sense. So you may find, actually, and this is what I found, is that you first embody the divine masculine very purely, and then you realize, oh, I have to actually bring the divine feminine in also, and embody that purely. So you end up doing both, regardless of your gender, regardless of your role in the relationship. You end up having to balance both energies in all moments in a sort of purity. So we're not really talking about men and women, though. We will talk about societal type programming and social agreements, I guess, that women are this way, men are this way, and try to highlight what some of those are so that we can just be aware of them and like just let go of them. We don't need to hold on to them. If others want to, that's fine, but we don't have to do that. So we don't have to be pressured into believing ourselves to be things that we are not. So yeah. With that said, maybe I could start with the first question.
Yes, please.
Okay, so I also want to express my deep gratitude for Tassel for being very open all the time, and also for being always patient with me, and also for basically opening her heart to allow this stuff to come out. It's very vulnerable to share a lot of these things that we talk about sometimes, and I just wanted to express her openness or gratitude for her openness in what we talk about today. So,
thank you.
You're welcome. So, what do you see as the major or core divine feminine lessons?
Okay, great question. So, obviously, I'm going to be speaking in part from my own experience and I guess my own observations of women throughout my lifetime and from work with clients. And so, of course, in everything I say, run through your own guidance system. If it doesn't resonate, that's beautiful. Whatever resonates or not is great. So one of the core lessons that I believe the divine feminine is being invited into is this idea of I matter. And specifically that I matter just as I am, not in relation to anyone else. I think there's a lot of programming in our society, probably almost every society, of all of us as relational beings, not just the divine feminine, but I do think in particular the divine feminine, as relative to other people. So as a girlfriend, as a wife, as a mother, as a daughter, as a sister. I think it's changing as we enter this new Aquarian age. But even these days, most movies or most TV shows or the plot lines of many books are you see women as relational beings. They are somebody's girlfriend, they are somebody's wife, they are somebody's mother, etc. So I think all of us, including the divine masculine, are being invited into this orientation that I am. I matter as my own unique, sovereign being, just as I am, not necessarily in relation to anyone else.
Nice. Yeah. You said a few things. Do you mind if I comment a little?
Sure.
I know this is mostly about divine feminine. I just want to say, in general, I think that the hardest thing for us when we see ourselves as the label of what a girlfriend is, or a wife is, a mother is. we form an ideal of what that is, and then whenever we don't meet that ideal, based on our own judgment of ourselves, that causes us to be very pained. These identities or roles are really, really limited. They're like I said, they're ideals, and it sort of rejects our inherent being, as well as creates opportunity for what we perceive as mistake, which then causes us to feel shame or guilt or something like that. And so I think, thank you for bringing all that up.
Yes. Yeah. Great point. So not only are we talking about not being relational, but just I am, but you're right that these labels all have certain connotations, certain associations. I know for myself as a mother, there are so many ideas around what is a proper mother, what is an ideal mother, how one should dress, how one should act, what one should do for a career, how one acts with their children, etc. And these, as you said, they all put us in a box. They all limit us. All of this is very constricting. And I also, on this topic, I want to also speak to around ageism. Okay. So not only does the divine feminine matter, I matter as I am, but I matter at all ages of my lifespan. So again, there's so much programming. This is extremely dense programming around women and their age and their value. So typically it's the sex symbol and the mother figure are typically how women seem to be valued in our society. And it's very, very easy to adopt that programming as a woman. And I speak to women all the time that with challenges around as we get older and we age out of these ideal boxes that we're put into. So I matter at every age. At every age, I matter.
Yeah, I think you hit a really, really important point. Everyone sees how they bring value differently, like what makes them valuable, and that's a really core problem of perception. It's an error of perception that we bring value through our actions or what we do here or that. And so, like Tassel said, the feminine or divine feminine, has that motherhood, girlfriend, all that type of role. And in order to be a good one of those, they have to be sexy, but they also have to be loving and supportive. Maybe they have to have children. And so we have people that maybe can't have children that then feel like they don't have value or purpose because society sort of teaches us that women are here to just have kids and take care of the house and, things like that. That is changing. So, I don't, I'm not trying to condemn society either. And then on the other side of that, men see their value through their authority, through their service, and through their status is how they see, like, the more no one will see my value unless I have power and authority in order to serve them or support them, basically through my money or my success or my work or my, what I contribute here. If I can't do that, then I don't have value either. So that's some of the core things. And it all just comes back to this idea that we need to find our value from anything else, right?
Exactly. That somehow for the divine masculine and the divine feminine, that our value is what we're doing or what we have or what we do for others, etc. And one of the greatest lessons for all of us in our incarnated vessels is I am inherently precious, I'm inherently valued, I'm inherently perfect just as I am without having to do or be anything.
Yes.
And I just wanted to say, yeah, about this. I think for many women who become older, let's say over 40, over 50, and who do not have children, and so they've sort of aged out or not gone into the mother role, aged out of possibly this young, sexy, divine feminine. I think it can be very, very challenging. The program is so dense. I'm aware of many suicides of women in this age, and motherless women. And I think I can't imagine that this doesn't have something to do with it. Just feeling that I am not worthy. Why should I even be here, etc. So this is really profoundly dense programming that we can work our way out of.
Yeah.
I matter at every age. I'm inherently worthy and precious as I am right now, without having to have anything.
Yeah, that's a good thing to just repeat to yourself whenever you notice yourself kind of talking negatively about yourself. Just remind yourself that you matter. Just say, I matter.
Yes.
I'm okay.
Yes.
I matter.
Yes.
And this too shall pass.
Absolutely. And it is our ability and responsibility to source this ourselves, not from anything external, to source our own worth from ourself and our connection with spirit.
Yeah.
The second lesson I wanted to share is living in our truth. Living in our truth. Oh, beautiful truth. How precious and beloved you are. So, and I'm sure this is a great lesson for the divine masculine as well. But I do think women can tend to be socialized, at least in my generation. I think it's changing, but I'm in my 50s. In my generation, I believe women or girls were really socialized to be people pleasing, to be obedient, to be a good girl. Very popular phrase. And I was that girl. I was all of that. I was a people pleaser. I was obedient. I was a very, very good girl. And I was not living in my truth at all. And I always talk about this, that being so out of my truth, being so out of my own guidance, I really just created a catastrophic life for myself. From being so misaligned, from being so out of my truth. So I do believe a beautiful invitation for us in this lifetime, in the divine feminine, is to live in our truth. And it sounds simple, and it is simple, but not necessarily easy. And I think one of the main aspects why it can be difficult is we worry, okay, if I go into my truth, if I really do feel everything around maybe my marriage or my career or the health of my body or sort of how I'm pursuing my dreams or not, if I really go there, if I really feel all of that, if I really see the truth, what next? What am I going to do next?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. We're sort of offered opportunity to let go of the stuff we thought about ourselves before, but because as well, when we are in truth, right? When we see in truth, like, oh, I actually like, I didn't allow, but I actually agreed to participate in this negative paradigm here. I agreed to it, and I'm responsible for it. I'm responsible to come out of it myself.
Yep.
No one can pull me out of it. And we can't change others' perceptions of us, really. So others might perceive us as still being this or that or this other thing. And I think that's part of it too, is noticing that that's okay, right? Like, it's okay if they think we're just a man or just a woman. It's okay if they think we're just a teacher or just a student or just a whatever. It's okay if they limit us because we know our limitless potentials. And as empathetic beings, as like service oriented beings, we often, in our innocence, as children, we start to participate in unknowing pleasing behavior because we want to serve everyone. We're innocent, we love them, they demand something, we want them to be happy, so we do it, or we adopt the paradigm or the role or whatever it is, and then that perpetuates everything. And when Tassel says, do I see the truth of all of this? Like, that's looking at that and like looking at our relationships and looking at our feelings of our identity and who we think we are. And then I think that is the hardest and most important work that any soul can do. And I think personally is the purpose of life itself. And then all the other stuff is just sort of gravy. Like it's, treats and dessert and meals and lots of lovely experiences, lots of challenging experiences, and it's all wonderful. But the primary purpose, if we can remember it, is like all these little things that we go through are really transient in truth, and we can recognize them in a sort of with a sense of humor as well about them. Like see some of the humor in the paradoxes at play that we see, the chaos, and just kind of see some of the humor in it as well, which helps us to be more comfortable in the truth, I think.
Yes, we are each here to live out our own authenticity, our own plan for our life, our own dreams. We are not here to please other people.
No.
We are here to be our own sovereign beings. And sometimes that will be uncomfortable for people. Sometimes living in our truth will really trigger people.
Mm-hmm.
And that's okay. That is okay. We are not responsible for anyone else's emotional responses.
Yep.
So we remain in our lane and in our own purpose and our own mission. And I just want to give an example of what I was talking about earlier about living in our truth and sometimes not wanting to go there because, oh, once I go there, then what am I going to do? Because then I'll see the truth. And then, oh my, what am I going to do next? So I'll just give an example, which probably a lot of people can relate to. I was in a very, very unhappy marriage for many, many years. And I just kept keeping my rose-colored glasses on because I didn't know what to do about my children. I didn't know what to do about custody. So I really lived in a lie. I really brainwashed myself to be like, well, this isn't so bad. And, I'll keep trying and it's not the worst thing. And just, I was living in a lie. And it created such an internal war inside of me because the truth was always arising. This is not working. This is not healthy. This is not serving. But my rationalizations and my fear of, well, if I really go into the truth, what am I going to do about my kids, basically? So I avoided the truth for a long time.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. And then and I'll just finish. And then when I eventually did go into my truth, it was a very painful situation, but it all did eventually work out. And the universe and spirit really just guided me through it the whole time. And actually I had a spiritual awakening and so many miracles and gifts came in. So it all worked out. The how was handled by the universe, by spirit. So we don't have to handle the how. When we live in our truth, basically we then hold that vibration of our truth and our truth will be met. Our truth will be supported. We're sending that truth signal out to the universe and the universe will respond. When we live in an illusion and in a lie and in chaos, well, then that's the signal we're sending out. So golly, it's scary. It's scary to live in the truth.
I love that you say golly. I don't know anyone ever that said golly. I love it. I love it. We had a really good question that you started to actually answer. I was just
Great.
about to ask it, so I wasn't trying to interrupt. I thought you had finished.
Okay.
But Elena, sorry if I pronounced that wrong. She says, my issue is I have no idea how to get started towards my dreams in the 3D. I have a mission and I use manifesting, but actually finding opportunity. And then you started to talk about how you don't find opportunity. Opportunity arises from the universe, which brings it to you at the right times. And yeah, so is there anything else that you'd like to add to that about finding your dreams in the 3D as divine feminine?
It's the timing is so cool because that was the next lesson I was going to talk about is our dreams.
I'm not surprised at all.
So thank you so much, Elena. Let me just intro it, and then I'll add some more to what you said about how the dreams manifest. So I don't know about everybody else, all the other divine feminines out there, but my dreams were not valued at all in my system that I grew up in. They were not valued at all. And so I abandoned my dreams. I abandoned all of them. And this is part of how I created this catastrophic life for myself. So this is one of the biggest initiations I feel I've had in this lifetime is the pain of abandoning one's dreams and turning that pain into inspiration. So I now, one of my major platforms that I speak on and teach and work with clients and workshops is follow your dreams. There is no greater heartache than to abandon your dreams. You're abandoning yourself. You're abandoning your purpose here. You're abandoning spirit flowing through you. So just, oh my goodness, connect with and pursue our dreams. And I want to say that because the divine feminine has been socialized to be so relational, it's very common and easy to fall into this trap of, well, I'll help my children pursue their dreams.
Yeah.
I'll help my spouse pursue his dreams.
Wow.
I'll help my dad pursue his dreams. Anybody but me.
Hence why our mothers are so critical of us, right? In many ways.
And just often, sometimes really struggling because they've given up their dreams for everybody else.
Exactly. And so now they're trying to live it through their children, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And then that creates such an unhealtly, stressful
such
relationship.
A sad. I didn't see it like that quite. I didn't grasp it as masculine, right? It's a little different for us. Yeah, that's great. Thank you.
So, and this, when you're a mother, so I have 3 kids, they're all teenagers. And of course, I want to support my children in their dreams and everyone else around me. I want everyone to have their dreams, but I cannot let go of my dreams. I cannot let go of my dreams. And also, I don't want to model that to my children. I want to model to my children that I'm going for my dreams and I want you to go for your dreams too. And I'm not going to abandon my dreams for anybody.
Right.
So, and I'll just say that the path of following your dreams sometimes can look a little messy and a little chaotic, and your kids might not like that either.
Yeah.
I'm sure in some ways my kids, might sometimes think, oh, it'd be great if mom were just more normal and had like a normal job and a normal relationship and a normal this and normal that. And that is not my path.
Yeah. I just want to share that one of my kids is like very upset that I have a beard, that I don't wear, like I don't put my hair up, or brush it and have it short and like put together and clean cut, work clothes. Like he's used to seeing me in like semi-formal type business stuff when I used to work IT. So his image of me is this sort of corporate dad, and I'm not at all that anymore. And that's been really hard for him. He's actually
Yes.
cried saying like he didn't like my beard, and very was very upset about that. And I my heart went out to him, but I really like it. So I
You can't abandon yourself.
I decided that, yeah, like Tassel said, the way I serve him is not by adhering to his demand. It's by showing him my empowered authenticity, not by just acquiescing. Um, I'm
Yes.
if I just do what he wants me to do, yeah, I'm doing something he wants me to do, and that's nice in the moment, and he may find some pleasure in that or some solace or comfort. But at the end of the day, it's not appropriate for another person to discern for another how they should be, and he needs to learn that it's not his place to tell people what to do with their face and their, it's not, I know it's hard for him, but it's just not up to him, and that lesson has to be learned.
Yes.
And so I can show him that and say, I really am so grateful that you told me this, and just let it go. And anyways,
Yes. You're modeling your own commitment and loyalty to yourself,
right, yeah.
which modeling to our children is the most powerful thing we can ever do. And I'll just share like a similar little anecdote is that my precious son, who's amazing, goes to a really fancy prep school. And a lot of families in that prep school, they're very wealthy, and the moms sometimes have just more like traditional roles, and I'm not that mom, and it's hard. I think at times it's really hard for my son. So, and at times I can feel bad. My human can feel bad, like I'm letting him down because I'm different or whatever. But I think in the end, it also really expands them, and it invites them to ground in their own worth and confidence, regardless of how normative or like, oh, my mom's like everybody else, which is like sort of an easy way to feel comfortable. So it's really expansive for our kids as well. So just getting back to following one's dreams and answering a little bit more of the question that was raised. Yeah, we don't have to worry again about the hows. So our job as the being in the human vessel is just to hold the vision, connect with what do I want, hold the vision, feel into the feeling as if it has already happened. You're already living it now. And what I love to do is I just ask for the next step. One of my favorite phrases, I say it all the time, show me the way, show me the way. This is my vision. This is what I'm feeling for my life. This is what I can see. Precious Spirit, show me the way, show me the next step. And I basically do a practice every day where I pray around this, and I often say this out loud. Spirit, please show me the way today. Show me the way towards this beautiful dream in my heart. And every day I feel Spirit does show me the way. And you just see what comes in, what person sort of crosses your path, what book comes your way, what like webinar on Facebook comes up on your feed that maybe might be helpful for you to join in. It's all there. The path is there. And it's kind of like, what's that? Little Red Riding Hood, when she has the crumbs on the path to find her. Is that Little Red Riding Hood? I have the right story.
Crumbs on the path. I'm not sure the crumbs part. I know she goes to grandma's house or something and feeds a wolf, or I don't remember.
Okay, but I might have the wrong children's story tray. What I want to say is the path, when we're aligned, is often you'll just get the next step. You'll just get the next crumb on your journey. The whole path may not be clear. It often isn't. We are living in faith when we are living from our guidance and our heart and our spirit. And we often just get the next step. So this is how we manifest our dreams. We tune in, we hold the vision, we hold the feeling, we invite spirit to show us the way, and we tune in to what's coming in. Okay, I can feel this is the next best step for me. And just take that step and keep your faith. Keep your faith. Let your faith be an energy that washes over your entire internal and external environment. There's nothing that will keep me from my precious dream. I have faith that myself with spirit, we are bringing through our precious dream into our external environment.
Yeah, and can I just express something that I think will be really helpful for those who are like, I am doing all of that, but still my dream that I see very clearly just isn't here, right?
Yes.
So the reason we see it clearly is because it's here, right? It's something that you have energized as your dream, and it's something that is, if it feels really just really good, and it's also very benevolent in nature, usually very somehow service oriented, usually, either through humor or art, or even just helping people get their work out, anything that's kind of service oriented and highly energized by you and your dream, is already sort of there. And what's happening is, if it's not coming in yet and you have faith that it will, you have to keep holding the faith for sure. But what I like to do is say, basically do what Tass was talking about in the morning, like, help me see what I can do to take the next steps. Help me see if opportunities that arise for me to move forward on my dream. Help invite me to participate in my dream. And what do I have to see about myself that is resisting this dream? Because in truth, despite your deep desire and yearning for the dream to be here right now, there's a part of you that doesn't accept it. There's a part of you that is rejecting it, which is why otherwise it would be there. So we have to look at what that part of us is. Like, it's usually just a self-worth thing, or a story of society that this isn't possible, or it's these types of things that we need to look at in ourselves to get rid of that and be like, oh, no, it's possible. So we can have faith, but if we think it's not possible, we'll have faith in something really strongly, know it's going to come, but we still kind of feel like a little bit like it's not possible too. And then if that part of it is a little too energized, then we're resisting the universe allowing us to give it to us, right?
Yes, screaming yes to everything you said. A way to look at what we're talking about is, it's not as much as like your dream is coming to you. It's that you are shifting into the version of yourself that has that life.
Yes.
You are becoming the dream.
You are the dream. Yeah.
You are the dream.
Yep.
So what is happening in every next step towards your dream is mostly just your own transformation. Right. Spirit is just leading you on your transformation to become the version of you that has the life that you're calling in. You are the one that is transforming and coming in. You're the one that's coming in.
Yeah.
It's not so much that the dream is coming in, you're coming in, and you're just coming back to yourself. You're remembering yourself. You're releasing what does not serve you. You are seeing your limiting beliefs. You are replacing them with the truth, which is you are an infinite creator being with the power of the universe flowing through you. And it is your inherent right to bring through your dreams.
Yes.
As this beautiful version of yourself.
Mm-hmm. And, also we can notice that our dream, the only reason we're upset is because we're impatient. That's really all it is. We want it right now. Right now. Give it to me now. And like Tassel said, we're transforming, we're becoming, or we're remembering what we really are. And uh, that's a process. So we're in that process, and we have to just stop trying to hold the wheel and direct so much, and just try to notice that I don't have to be so impatient. Impatience is really good because it's a motivator to act, right? But when we're stewing in our impatience, we make the journey tumultuous. We make the journey a little bit more resistant to what we're doing because it's annoying to us that what we want is not here yet. It bothers us. It's upsetting to us in some way. And that's typically born of an impatience around the dream. It's hard to look at that in ourselves. But once we do, we can just go, oh, no, I'll choose to be patient. I'll choose to allow the timing, the divine perfection of the universe to allow this dream to realize itself through me at the right time. And I'll allow myself and accept myself and find a certain joy in my transformation now, and focus instead that, okay, I'm in a transformation. The dream's not here. I'm in a transformation. I'm going to focus on that. My dream right now is to transform so that my other dream comes in, or
Yes.
that I can embody it.
So well said. So we're socialized to focus on what can I do to make my dream come in faster? What can I do? What can I do? What can I do? And I think what we're saying is focusing on how am I being, focusing on our self-growth, focusing on our self-awareness. The inner work that we are doing is what brings the dream through, because that brings through our transformation. So the most beautiful work we can ever do is just our own inner work.
And it can be a joy. It can be a joy. It can be, I promise.
Yeah, it's
not
absolutely.
Always, but
it's very exciting.
Can be. We don't have to be.
Well, and even what happens is, I think when we reach a certain level of inner work, often we come to the realization that our own inner peace and acceptance,
that's
and
the dream,
contentment is actually the dream, is actually what really makes us feel the best. And so we can kind of, in that way, just let go a bit of whatever externally manifests, because we've already found the gold within ourselves, which is just our own inner love, inner peace, inner acceptance, inner contentment.
Yeah.
But of course, all the others, yeah, I mean, all the other stuff is fun too. I always say that's the icing on the cake. The cake is your own inner joy.
And the funny thing is that the dream that you hold, like, it may not manifest quite how you see it in your mind's eye or in your, what will manifest will actually be so much more perfect and weird and divine than what you thought it could be, because your limited human thought about what is possible is sort of, it's great, it's beautiful, but it's not respecting that the universe will do what is best for you. And that, like Tassel said, the real reason that you have that dream is because we have an idea that if I'm doing this thing or being a part of this thing or whatever it is, that's when I'll be at peace, because I'll be happy and at peace when I'm doing that. I'll feel joy every day. I'll wake up and I'll be doing what my dream and living my dream.
Yes.
And that could be true. Like, it could be true, but we can't live the dream in peace until we live peace in ourselves as our sort of default way of operating.
Yeah. We're looking for the dream to make us feel better, but we can choose and develop and ground into feeling better right now, as everything is right now.
Excellent.
Yeah.
This has been a lovely discussion. Thank you.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, that's the true dream. The true dream is contentment right now. Okay. The next, I've got 2 more lessons I wanted to go through. So the next one, this word, honor. The divine feminine honors herself. This word, honor. I'll just quickly tell a little story of how honor came into my life. I didn't know anything about honoring myself for most of my life. And in part of my psychotherapy PhD training, I came across this amazing psychotherapist. His name is Michael White. He since has passed over into the next realm, but he was Australian, and what a godly ascended being he was, and honoring ourselves and others was really a foundation of his therapy practice. And I'll never forget, I might tear up as I talk about this, a therapy transcript I read with him during my training, where he was working with a client who was transgendered. And we all know just how difficult that path can be, and how quite often they are not honored in their authenticity. And one of the first questions he asked this beautiful client who he was working with, he simply said, "How can I honor you?" And I just, I don't know, I kind of lost it when I read that. I think I remembered the truth of who we really are, that we are love, and that we are to honor ourselves and to honor everyone else exactly as they are. And I'll just never forget that. It meant so much to me.
Yeah, and all we really want is others to honor us, right? Accept us. So, that, and when they don't, that's what causes most of our trouble inside. So,
yes.
Yeah, that's beautiful. We've talked about Michael White a lot. I think you said he also sort of crafted that narrative approach to.
Yes, he's the founder of a therapy modality called narrative therapy, which is also, I'll just quickly say, it's probably a whole nother stream, but it's all about the story of our life. How do we craft the story of our life? So it goes right into all of our ascension sort of learnings and teachings.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
I can hear somebody asking like, "Oh, I resonated with that. Maybe I could check his work or something." So
yeah, maybe I can put some links in the episode. He's written numerous books and articles, and he's just amazing. And my PhD dissertation, which I can also make available to people, was a lot around narrative therapy.
Yeah, that book is a monster and it's amazing.
My dissertation?
Yeah, like basically, can I just share just a little bit about your dissertation?
Please.
I really want to talk about it because when Tassel gave it to me, I started to read it, and it is so unsettling for me to read it, because what I'm witnessing is the pain in myself that I've had almost mirrored experiences. Everything that she writes is a mirrored painful experience that I've had, and I feel it, right? So reading it is like reading a sort of gospel of our internal states that we didn't know others really went through, right? It really helps us appreciate our pain for what it was, instead of thinking of ourselves as wussies, which is basically what I was doing. I'm like, oh, I'm a wussy. I can't handle the world. But so actually trying to read it was so hard for me. Like I can only read at the time, and I should try again. Actually, I should try again, because when I first tried to read it, I kind of was like, oh, like I just couldn't hang with it. And it's because it's a very open window into Tassel's sort of experience, and how sort of she's realigning, I guess, through these what are they called, the little excerpts of your experience? Vignettes.
Yeah.
Through these vignettes of her experience and what those experiences were to her. And her writing's excellent in that, like in a creative way. And then she just switches and goes straight into like rational, sort of science-based expressions as well. And it's sort of like a real balance of sort of a spiritual exploration of oneself, as well as how psychology, or I wouldn't know, I don't know what we would call it, but how that profession or how that system observes us as well, and how we can sort of heal a lot of this in ourselves through just literally just she just sort of shows us a lot of her examples of some of the healing that she's had to do and some of the situations. So I think we'll probably end up publishing it, right?
Yes, we need to publish it.
We should. It's really, really, really good. And, you know, so.
Yeah, we should publish the terminology I used probably throughout it was like the reconstruction of my life.
Yeah.
And yeah, hopefully it can help others. Okay, so just this lesson is about the divine feminine, and please the divine masculine as well. But I'm talking about the divine feminine right now. The divine feminine honoring herself. And just saying that word, I honor myself. I honor myself. That's a great affirmation, I think. I'm going to probably use that today. I honor myself. What does that mean? I honor myself. What does that mean to you listening? How can you honor yourself? What does it look like when you honor yourself? And I'll just use again the example of many divine feminines as moms. Sometimes it can feel really challenging to honor oneself when you're a mom.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Because so much of your life force, your energy is going out to your kids and just keeping your household running. And if you work, oh my goodness, so much. But can we take some of that life force, some of that energy, some of that love, and just turn it back to ourselves and honor ourselves? I honor myself. I honor myself. Maybe it means, I know, like, I eat a lot just standing up at the kitchen counter.
Yeah.
I don't think that's unusual for like single parents who are divorced and stuff. But what can I do during my day to honor myself? I'll just give another quick example. Like often I'll take my kids out to get a snack or Target to buy something. And historically, I wouldn't buy myself anything, or I wouldn't necessarily get the snack. Because the divine feminine also is supposed to be like gorgeous and thin, and that's a whole nother discussion. But can I also buy myself something when I'm taking my kids to buy them something? Can I honor myself as well? So the overall foundation here is the divine feminine taking care of herself. And taking care of herself as a priority, as something she does in a way first, that it is most important for us to take care of ourselves first. How can we, really serve anyone else if we haven't served ourselves first?
Yeah.
So,
can I just add a little analogy after?
Yeah. And I'll just quickly say, I think this to me is one of the most challenging initiations or lessons as a divine feminine, especially as a mother. Can I take care of myself first before my kids? And I'm not saying we don't take care of our kids. I'm just saying that energetically, can I tune in to focus on what do I need? And then how can I, serve the people who depend on me? Yes.
So I like to think of it, this is the best sort of example of how I can think of why or justify, I guess, serving ourselves first, right? So if you're on an airplane and it starts to have an issue, the oxygen things drop, and they tell you right at the beginning, put yours on first before you assist your neighbor, elderly child, whatever it is. You're going to feel instinctually maybe that you have to help your child first. But if you do try to do that, you may pass out, right? And then both of you are screwed. So basically the idea is, get myself to a good state, balanced state first, as however I can do that, as best I can do that, which allows me to serve others, children, my family, whoever, the universe, God, whatever. But we have to get ourselves to a state of feeling honored and feeling aligned first. If we don't do that, then also our service can be tainted. So when we want to offer pure service to somebody else, we want to try to do so in a sort of undistorted way, just to sort of offer it, right? I would like to serve them, and that's why I'm doing it. And that's sort of like the orientation of it. But we can't properly do that if we don't like take care of ourselves. If we don't eat, like you think of it like feeding. If we never fed ourselves, but we keep feeding all of our food to our child in a poverty situation, we'll starve, and then our child will starve too. So we have to give us our daily bread as well, right? First.
Yep, absolutely. Okay, and the final lesson, I believe this is number 5, is for the divine feminine: I trust myself. I and only I am the authority in my life. I am a sovereign being. So, again, in my childhood, in the system I grew up in, I don't think this is very uncommon. I think it's quite common. I was really taught to turn away from my own trust in myself, from my own guidance, from my own intuition, from my own sovereignty. And again, I created a catastrophic life through doing that. So, can we come back to ourselves, this constant practice, coming back to myself? Oh, I hear what my husband is saying. I hear what his opinion is. Oh, I hear what my kids are saying. Oh, I hear what my friends are saying, my mother. Okay, I hear all that. That's great. I'll run that through my own guidance system, but I am coming back to myself. I'm coming back to myself. What does my heart say? What does my guidance say? What does my gut instinct say? And that's what I am following. I am always coming back to myself. And one of the best practices I have found to really build this muscle is to spend time alone. For instance, over the past 5 years, since I separated from my ex-husband, I have spent an enormous amount of time alone. I didn't historically like to spend time alone. It wasn't really what I wanted, but the gifts of spending time alone there's nothing that can compare to it. And one of the greatest gifts is to hear yourself, basically learning to hear yourself, learning to hear your higher self coming through you, your inner being. And that voice it'll just get louder and louder and clearer. I do believe as you connect with it. And one of the ways I have found is to spend time alone. So I'll just give one more example of this practice is, so even say between Sean, you and I, we might talk about something or, have some ideas about something. And I can get kind of in the collective mind of you and me, which is there. So, you have your consciousness, I have my consciousness, and then there's like a partner consciousness. But it's really important for each one of us to also check in with our own consciousness, our own guidance in everything we do. And so I just noticed, I want to use the phrase hive mind. It's really easy to get into the hive mind of the collective or any group. And it's not to say it's wrong. It's just, okay, that's what this group of people is thinking and all that. But I'm going to always come back and check in with my consciousness, with my intuition, with my guidance around everything I do. Mm-hmm. And this absolutely has been how I turned a completely catastrophic life that I miscreated in the past into really a life, I would say, of my dreams, is through following my own damn guidance. And
Yeah.
yeah, of course, like no duh.
Yeah. Yeah. Who better to enact and know your dreams than you? Right? Like,
Yeah, what better voice to follow than your own voice?
you know,
It's common sense, but we're just so
we're
socialized to turn
conditioned.
to
Yeah.
other people for advice and guidance. And I also want to just point out the therapy world mainstream therapy can really encourage this orientation of looking externally for guidance. So, we often can go to therapists or healers or coaches. Tell me what to do. What should I do? Looking at them as the answer. We can also do this spiritually, spiritual gurus, spiritual teachers, religious figures, etc. Or even, I also want to say, even, physicians looking to external people to guide us. And I'm not saying that all these people don't have some, perhaps, something helpful to bring to you, but run it all through yourself first. You and only you are the authority in your life.
Yes, we have a really, really good question. And I'd like to ask it of you and get your perspective on it if you're okay with it from chat.
Sure.
What can be a healthy attachment between twin flames? Because in this connection, it's easy to have an unhealthy attachment to the other half, is the question. And if you'd like to give your perspective, I can give mine. Mine's really brief, I think.
Yeah. Do you want to give yours first and then I'll give mine?
Sure. Yeah, if you want to. So first of all, I'd just like to say that we all see this differently depending on where we're at. Attachment is challenging because when we're in attachment, we want to hold it. We feel safe holding the attachment, right? To something like when you said unhealthy attachment in the chat. When we're in an unhealthy attachment, we actually feel usually like we want to hold it. It's not until we notice it's unhealthy that we then go, oh, okay, I have to let go of this. It's unhealthy. So basically, in its purest sense, all attachment is unreal and is not healthy. The degree of attachment will inform the degree of unhealthiness of it. For example, if I feel that my life is incomplete and I am not whole if Tassel's not here, then I will not be able to find peace. Because whenever there is a threat that Tassel is not going to be there, for example, she does something that frightens me due to my old past stories, and I feel like this is an indicator that I might lose her, I get upset. And so your attachment actually is always unhealthy to all things in the external world. Your attachment to the body is always, or to the body and the identity as the limited human is always unhealthy. Basically honoring the other's sovereignty. Basically, when we're attached, we're basically saying, sort of, like, let's say Tassel does something I don't want her to do. She went dancing and stuff, and I didn't really like it. She went dancing. There's other boys there, and I didn't like it. And so, what I had to look at in myself is like, I want to just, this is how she leaves me. This is like, we live in different countries. So she's off dancing with local men, right? And I'm just over here in the tundra of Canada, freezing and alone. So I'm just using hyperbole and stuff, but so my attachment to her is very unhealthy about that, right? That whole thing is very, very unhealthy. um, I was able to see that um, it was my desire to literally restrain her from going to express herself as she wanted to, as she felt called to, and as she felt joyful in doing. I wanted to hold her away, say, no, no one else can play with my tassel. No, right? Mine. And that's obviously unhealthy, right? Now, it doesn't mean that, that behavior or that particular type of thing will continue. Basically, we both sort of agreed after all of it that it didn't really feel right if we're dancing with other people. It just feels a little impure, a little not quite, it doesn't feel super aligned to either of us. And after we discussed it all and all that, and I wasn't trying to influence her in any way, but I was able to see in myself my desire to influence her, my desire to like get her to stop somehow, stop her from this. And so basically, our discomfort with what they're doing is the indicator of the unhealthiness of that attachment to whatever it is. So, and this is the meaning of like when give all to me, right? Give all to me, give all to the Creator. That's what it's talking about. It's talking about your attachments. Give all of my attachments away. I surrender all to my divine self, which is me. And when I surrender all, I trust that what remains is what is more true of me. And we let go of all of this. We trust them. We trust her. Like, Tassel's never done anything to really, really hurt trust. She's really never, she's always been very consistently, there is no reason for me to worry, really. The reason I worried is because all through my life, I was sort of tossed aside by women, cheated on, and all these other things. So, or abandoned randomly. So, I have that story, and that's why it was so hard. Is the story had nothing to do with Tassel. So recognizing that too is the reason that we're upset or like we're feeling discomfort. And so the degree of how attached we are will always, at some point, come back to us, inform discomfort, which helps us to see, oh, I'm misperceiving. Basically, if my love is unconditional for this person, all I want is for them to be joyful and happy. That's all I want. If my love is pure, that's all I want. If it's anything other than that, it's not pure. It's not unconditional. There's conditions to my love. If I'm saying, do this, be here, or I don't love you, then it's not healthy. What is healthy is to say, I love you. This destroys my heart that you don't want to be with me. Destroys me. But I love you. Fly. Be free. I love you, and I'm gonna heal this in myself, and I'm just gonna do my thing and love you and do my stuff. And there's nothing else that we can do because they're a free being. We can't convince. You really want to convince someone to love you and be with you? You want to convince them? That doesn't seem very very great, right? At least for me. So
yes,
when we try to convince people of like coming back to us, or and Tassel didn't do anything like that, but that's that attachment coming in, being like, I want to convince them, I want to show them that I'm a good partner, but if they don't see us that way for now, or if they do see us that way but are doing things we don't like, or are seeming to pull away a little bit and we don't like that, we have to just trust that it's okay, that if they are pulling away and it really hurts, they're probably actually pulling away to show us this in many ways too, right? So the reason it hurts us is they're mirroring a pain to us that hurts, right? They're mirroring our shadow side, really. So their behavior isn't so much important. It's not really about their behavior. It's about how we feel. And so all attachment is unhealthy, more or less, unless it's attachment to God.
Can you read the question one more time? And thank you so much for your beautiful answer.
Yeah, so it was, sorry, I'm just looking. What can be a healthy attachment between twin flames? In this connection, it's really easy to have unhealthy attachment to the other half.
Okay. So I'm going to come from the orientation that we can trust everything. We can trust our feelings. We can trust, oh, I'm having a feeling of attachment. We can trust it. And what I mean is, there's a reason for it. The reason is like your twin flame is the carrot.
Great point.
Your twin flame is the reward that your human wants. And there's nothing wrong with it. Your feeling of attachment, there's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with it.
Nope, nothing wrong.
We don't have to distrust it. We don't have to try to get rid of it. We can honor it. We can honor whatever is arising in us always. And the beauty of the twin flame relationship, the divine union, and really all relationship is it's always pointing us in a direction. It's always leading us somewhere. So a question you can ask if something is feeling a little uncomfortable or like a little too much, like, oh, maybe I keep thinking about him or her, or if the feeling of attachment becomes uncomfortable, why? What am I really feeling here right now? What is it? And I'll just give a few examples. So with Sean, for instance, I would sometimes have uncomfortable feelings of like just really wanting him to be here in Tennessee. And I'm not sure that those will ever go away necessarily. But when I really tuned into like, what is my attachment to that? Why do I want to be with him in the physical so much? And part of it was because we have so much fun together and he's awesome. And he's my best friend and we have a blast. Okay. So that's not possible all the time because we live in different countries. So what's my learning here? What's my initiation here? What am I here to really see? Oh, could it be that maybe I can learn to have some fun on my own? I can also have fun. I can be whole and have fun myself. So the twin flame relationship, the divine union relationship, really all relationships are always showing us something about ourselves. They're always showing us always giving us some initiation of a shift, of a transformation that we can make to just come back to ourselves. We're always just coming back to ourselves. We're always remembering our own wholeness, our own perfectness as is without needing anyone else. We don't need anyone else. We like them. It's icing on the cake. It's fun, but we don't need. So to me, the attachment keeps us in the game. It keeps us in the game of transformation. We're not going to transform usually unless there's some kind of reward. So the attachment really, in a way, needs to be there. If we weren't attached, we would drift apart. We would be like, it's not worth it. I'm just going to let it go. The attachment keeps you in the game. Keeps you in the game of your own ascension, your own awakening, your own transformation, your own coming back to yourself. The attachment is helping you come back to yourself. The attachment is helping you walk home. You and your twin flame, you and your divine union partner are walking each other home to yourself, to spirit, to your wholeness, to your divinity, to your God self.
Mm-hmm. Divine partnership, quickly summarized, is learning, a lesson plan in love, peace, trust, and illumination. You see yourself through them. And so you will inevitably see things that are somewhat challenging, inevitably, unless you're already whole and pure in that moment, which you are, but it's only potentiated because we've forgotten. And, we're learning. And somebody asked another question. This is a really interesting one. It's about twin flames again. Twins have been all over our field.
And maybe maybe I'll just pause and just mention again that we are having a Twin Flame free gathering on Thursday, March 10th. There's a link in the description of the video.
We're not selling anything. It's just...
well, we are going to most likely have a program and a support group.
No, I just mean we're not selling anything in the thing. It's not a sales thing. We're just doing a support group, basically.
Yes. Okay. So I just wanted to mention that because hopefully we can serve people.
Yes, that's the only reason I said that was, for me, sometimes I hear we're doing a free webinar or a free whatever. And then I'm like, yeah, but you're selling something in it, probably.
I think we are going to talk about perhaps a group we're going to have at the very end.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
We are selling something. I didn't realize.
I don't see it. I see it. Yeah.
We do work that we sell. So we may talk about that. Yeah. I guess all I just meant was like, we're not trying to like sell things. We're just trying to help people that are going through things.
And I want to also mention in our Patreon community, next Thursday, March 3rd, we actually are going to have a course on Twin Flame Divine Union. So it's pretty reasonable to join our Patreon community. If you're interested, there's also a link below, but you can join and then come join us for this amazing course that we're going to be teaching.
Yes. I'm glad that Tassel likes to sell because I don't at all. So it's perfect. And this is the same thing about, I don't see it as selling. I see it as offering. We're offering. Well, whatever. Yeah. No, it's me offering. My orientation is just a little different, and so that's what I'm trying to say. I guess is just that our twins or our partners will they'll have strengths that will help whatever we're doing together, and sometimes it makes it uncomfortable. Like my strength is actually that I don't care about selling. That's my strength. It makes my work very, very pure. Not that there's anything wrong with money, but the desire for just financial gain is a sort of greed based desire, right? So that, but financial gains, money is important to serve, like to express your.
I wouldn't say the desire for financial gain is greed based.
That's not what I was trying to say.
Yeah, maybe like, huge, if you want so much, maybe it's greed based, but yeah, financial gain is necessary.
If you want more money than you need to do what you're doing, then that's greed, basically, is the way I sort of see it. Like you don't need more money than you need, right? What's the extra for?
Yeah.
But maybe we probably disagree on all this anyways. So, but that's what happens. We disagree, and then we're both supposed to honor each other's opinion, and then I honor my own feelings about it, and she honors hers, and then it's all good, and everything's great.
And there's expansion. There was a question.
Oh, any tips for twins who aren't in union or haven't met yet? So this is going to be someone who is basically aware. They feel the presence of a union approaching, but they don't know who it is or where they are, but they know that it's happening, and this is normal. I felt this when I was young.
I feel a little funny because I feel like the stream is morphing into a twin flame topic. It's okay, but maybe I'll just answer it briefly because I know this was about the divine feminine lessons. But yes, just the inner work, just keep coming back to yourself, keep tuning in. What seems to be my next sort of initiation here? Keep asking spirit to show you the way. Have patience, have faith. It's coming. I know, Sean, you and I both went through quite a long period of years of being alone and the inner work, and for both of us, celibacy. I'm not saying you have to do it that way, but yeah, just follow your guidance. Your guidance is right there. It's directing you every day. Just tune in every day. What feels aligned for me today? And then spirit will lead you on that beautiful path.
Yeah. And I just like to offer a little practice. The reason you're feeling them is because they're there. Talk to them. Try to have conversations with them, commune with them, say hello to them. You actually, you're sort of forming a connection, probably with their higher self, sort of, or perhaps sharing guides that kind of go between you, that you can feel. So, if you feel a little impatient and stuff, you can just ask them for guidance too, because you're not talking to the human, you're talking to the soul or the higher self or the divine self. And if you ask them for some guidance, like, where are you? Can I find you? Like, can I find you? Are you going to come to me soon? Or what's going on? Or where are you at with your healing? Basically, you cannot come into union before a certain precipice is passed within yourself. So both partners but have to reach a certain degree of awareness and illumination within before the partner will come. So we essentially have to go through life and go through our lessons and just focus really on just trying to get the most of our lessons and learn the most about ourselves, and try to be patient. Remember that they are coming and it's okay, and there's no rush to anything. In fact, if it was to rush, like I've said this to Tassel a few times, if we had gotten together like a couple years ago or something, it would not have worked. It would not have worked no matter what we did. Like, there's no way that either of us, I think, would be able to handle the intensity and some of the intensity of the polarized opposite, like, orientations and stuff. Anyways. And so the, that practice is really helpful. And do you have more things on the divine feminine that you'd like to share? Like, how many more do you have?
No, that's it.
That's
and
it?
I don't know if we're going to wrap up here, but I just wanted to summarize the 5 lessons just to say them all together. Was there another question?
I wanted to ask you the juicy question.
Oh, okay.
Like,
ask me a question.
Everything you talked about is really, really helpful for divine feminines, I think.
Yeah.
But there's probably, there are men watching, wondering how they can serve their divine feminine better, how they can show up better, how they can be more present for them. And this question will illuminate a lot for them, I think.
Great.
Which is, what is most challenging for divine feminine about the divine masculine aspect? And so, in many ways, I'm sort of asking you, like, what about sort of me and how I show up is, and I'm not personalizing it that way, but if that helps to kind of frame it, what about like my masculine traits that I show up with are like the hardest for, I know what they are, but what are the hardest for you or for the divine feminine to sort of kind of accept and honor? If you don't mind.
Yeah, great question. I think it's the traits that the divine masculine is learning from the divine feminine. So for me, with divine masculines, what I have found the most challenging is, and it's just due to their programming, it's nobody's fault, is just, I would say, being in the thinking mind so much, maybe being a bit scared to be in the heart, maybe some wariness about being vulnerable, maybe some wariness about intimacy, maybe some wariness about really sharing the truth, the feelings, and as well, the divine masculine being so hard on themselves and kind of taking away love from themselves. So yeah, those are what I find the most challenging. And I think it's interesting because I think all the things I said are what maybe come a little more easily to the divine feminine, and maybe what the divine feminine is here to support the divine masculine with opening up the heart, with vulnerability, with feeling one's feelings and being in the truth, with self-love. Yeah.
Yeah. Excellent. thank you for always being patient with me and for accepting me as I am, despite some of the challenging ways I show up. I really appreciate it. You always do a really good job. Yeah, I think that just from my perspective, just to share just a little bit about on that before we go, and I want you to summarize as well your points. But the that I think really recognizing that the partner is learning in an area, and the reason it feels uncomfortable for you is because you've probably kind of mastered it a bit in some ways. Like you're much more in tune with that sort of thing, right? Whether it's feeling your feelings or whatever it is. And so when the other person's not seeming to be able to really do that, it's kind of like hard. It's, it's like, why are they doing it that way? Like all they have to do is this, they just have to do this, or they could go and do this. And so we can kind of be like, we can get ourselves a little upset about that because we want them to, we also don't want them to be hurting. And most of the challenging stuff is because someone's in pain somewhere. And we know that too. So we're like, I can help them, I can help them by teaching them how to do this or do that. A lot of times when we're in pain though, when we try to teach someone that hasn't asked, it just kind of comes across as judgment. Because, we're not really totally accepting how they are. We're kind of going, I honor you, but here's how you can do it better. And so trying not to necessarily go that way unless they say, I'd like your help to try and understand myself. And, it's always appropriate to speak your truth. If you really feel like saying something, say it. Of course, always. But just trying to remember that, trying to remember the divine innocence of people and their, we're all just in lessons and there are no mistakes and they're doing their best, all of that stuff. Remember that. And then, in that way you can be a little bit more at peace with how they show up. That can be hard for you, right?
Yeah. And I think one of the superhero strengths of the divine feminine is this huge heart. And so whenever we feel hurt, we have the ability to transmute it in ourselves and to come back with more love. And it doesn't mean that we don't set boundaries when we need to. We do. But even with those we set boundaries with, we can still send love. We send love. We transmute hurt and turn it into love. I think that's just a superpower of the divine feminine.
Yep.
With these huge hearts. So just to wrap up, the 5 lessons that we've talked about here for the divine feminine are: number 1, I matter. I matter. I matter. Number 2, I live in my truth. Number 3, I connect with my values, intentions, purposes, and dreams for my life. Number 4, I honor myself. I take care of myself first. And number 5, I trust myself. I, and only I, am the authority in my life.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Beautiful.
Thank you. Thank you, Sean, for holding space for the divine feminine today and for all your very generous compliments. And I just want to shoot a compliment back at you that you and our relationship have profoundly helped me into my initiation into a fuller version of my divine feminine and all these principles that I just shared. So without you and our relationship, I wouldn't be where I am with all of this. So thank you.
I appreciate that. Thank you. I think it's all you, but I appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you very much. All right. So I think that's it. Thank you guys again. Link below. We're going to sell stuff. No, I'm just kidding. A link below for that twin flame support group that we're doing. we may do something like this on occasion where we do just site free groups.
Yeah, like once a month, I think
we're talking about trying to do something free at least once a month. So to click on that. If I recall, I'll put the link for the Divine Masculine sort of mirror of this video on the other, to watch that as well. I think if you watch both, there's a lot of core value, I think, that we're offering, I think. And not to self-aggrandize, but I think it's lots of wisdom in these videos. So I appreciate everyone. We appreciate everyone. Thank you so much for watching.
Thank you so much. So much love to all.
Take care.
Beings. Bye.